Imagine a town, quiet, normal, peaceful. And then a whisper starts. Have you heard? Something isn't right. Nobody knows exactly what, but suddenly, eyes narrow. Neighbors glance sideways. Fear creeps in. The town, once united, starts to divide. This isn't fiction. This is how mass psychosis begins. And it can happen anywhere, including where you live, including inside you. Chapter 1. The Birth of Fear. Mass psychosis doesn't begin with chaos. It begins with uncertainty, economic downturn, war, pandemics, political instability, anything that shakes the ground beneath people's feet. When people are afraid, their brains crave order, certainty, control. Enter the authority figures, the ones with simple answers. Trust us, we know what's best. They speak with confidence. They say the problem is them, over there. The outsiders, the unclean, the wrong thinkers. And people believe, because belief is safer than chaos. The more fear spreads, the more logic shrinks. You don't need facts when you have a tribe. And suddenly, your neighbor becomes your enemy. This happened in 1930s Germany. As economic despair gripped the nation, fear was weaponized. The Nazi regime offered clear targets: Jews, communists, dissenters. A terrified population turned on its own neighbors, convinced it was for the greater good. Chapter 2. The Rise of Conformity. Once fear takes hold, the next phase begins: control. People start censoring themselves. Not because they're told to, but because they're afraid not to. They adjust their opinions to match the group. They nod in agreement, even when their gut says no. And here's the terrifying part. After enough time, they forget they ever disagreed. Conformity doesn't just change behavior. It rewires memory, and it spreads like a virus. The more people conform, the more pressure builds on those who resist. Why can't you just go along with it? Are you crazy? Or are you one of them? Silence becomes safer than truth. And soon, silence is all that remains. In the 1950s, during McCarthyism in the United States, mass paranoia about communism led to widespread fear. People were blacklisted, careers destroyed, families betrayed each other. Not always because they believed, but because they were afraid to resist the dominant narrative. Chapter 3. The Creation of a New Reality. As conformity grows, facts begin to warp. What was once obvious becomes questionable. What was once wrong becomes noble. History gets rewritten. Words get redefined. Freedom becomes selfishness. Control becomes compassion. And if you speak out, you're not just wrong, you're dangerous. People start living double lives, what they say in public versus what they think in private. This doublethink is exhausting. It fractures the self. But the system rewards those who comply. Promotion, praise, belonging, and punishes those who dissent. Cancellation, isolation, fear. This is how a false reality becomes the only reality. Not because it's true, but because it's the only one you're allowed to say out loud. In Maoist China during the Cultural Revolution, truth became what the party said it was. Children were taught to denounce their parents. Books were burned. Language was policed. The rewriting of reality wasn't just encouraged, it was mandatory. Chapter 4. When the mind breaks. Eventually, even the strongest minds start to bend. Cognitive dissonance builds up. The gap between what you feel and what you're allowed to say grows too wide. Sleep disorders, anxiety, rage, depression. People lose their sense of self. Their identity gets absorbed by the collective. They become shells, echo chambers, and yet they feel morally superior because they're doing what's right. What they don't realize is that they've been hijacked, not by a virus, not by propaganda, but by fear. Mass psychosis is not madness of the few, it's madness of the many, and it feels completely normal when you're inside it. The Stanford Prison Experiment in 1971 showed how quickly individuals could adopt destructive roles when immersed in a certain group dynamic. College students, given power over others, became cruel, just because the environment permitted it. Chapter 5. Breaking the spell. But here's the truth. You don't have to be part of the herd. You can wake up. The antidote to mass psychosis is courageous thinking. It's asking, does this make sense? It's listening to your gut. It's daring to say, I don't agree. You won't change the world overnight, but you might inspire one other person, and that one person might inspire another. The madness spreads in silence, but so does truth. Speak it, even if your voice shakes. Because if enough people do, the spell breaks. Think of Václav Havel, the Czech dissident who helped overthrow a communist regime. Not with weapons, but with words. His refusal to conform reminded people that the truth still existed. One voice can be the start of a revolution. And revolutions begin when minds finally wake up.